Vango Mining Ltd, ASX VAN on the Australian Stock Exchange is a gold explorer. And joining me right now via Zoom is Bruce McInnes, the Executive Chairman. Hello, Bruce.
How are you, Tim? Nice to meet you.
I'm very well, thank you, and it's great to have you on. Now, before we talk about your current drilling program, just please outline Vango Mining and some recent history.
Okay, Vango Mining is a company that commenced its life as a company called Ord River Resources. I've been on the board since mid-2013 when it had three assets, all of which have been discarded for the Merrimire asset that we now have, 100% owned in the Midwest of Western Australia, approximately halfway between Mount Newman and Meekatharra, off to the western side of the highway there. So that asset was acquired by Vango fully in 2016. We had initially a joint venture farming arrangement with a company called Dampier Gold. We subsequently earned into about 60% and then acquired the balance of the 40% by way of a $2.2 million cash payment plus $4 million in residual royalties at certain production levels. So that was a big game changer for the company, and from there we've gone on to bigger and better things, obviously.
Yeah, so it's not a recent entry to the market or anything. You've been there for a while, but it seems that recently your activities are starting to ramp up a bit.
They are, Tim. Look, the current board, not so much the current board, but through the board members that we have now, myself, Sean Zhao, the deputy, and Carol Zhang, were the board members that got control of the company in August of 2015. The company's market cap at that time was sub 1.3 million, and we've taken it from there to 70 million roughly as it stands today. So that increase in market cap and removal of all debt, the company over those years has been, swung from having a lot of debt to where we are now, where we're debt free. And we're fully funded for this program of drilling, which will carry on the back of last year's drilling in the second half of last year.
Now, you're not looking at just a single drill target. You've got numerous targets, including some potential underground resource as well. Tell us about that.
Tim, I think that we have a lot of small exploration companies listed on the ASX are fairly unique. We have multiple targets. The difficulty we have, it's like being a kid in a lolly shop. Which jar do you grab first? So what we focused on in the first 3 odd years of drilling was to just expand on some of these assets and then try to identify which of the assets, many assets we have, which can be the easiest to start mining with. And that focus is now on 11 open pits, of which we want to narrow the target for the startup mine down to 2 of those open pits.
So in terms of this drill program you've got now, that's part of delineating those assets, isn't it?
Yes, it is, Tim. Look, all of those 11 targets that we're drilling at the moment, no work has been put into those assets by us. But when we look at the old data that came from Barrick, Resolute, and of course Dampier, all of those assets were mined down to a certain depth, just in the oxide zone. But beneath them, in the data we have, there is residual gold underlying each of the pits. So the quest is now to identify how what's the structures down there, and what is the total or approximate total of residual gold underlying those pits. And they're very shallow. They're all shallow pits. So they will be nice, easy startups for us.
So this would be continuing the oxide. The former mining operations or exploration operations didn't run out of oxide. Are you out of the oxide layer completely, or there's still residual oxides there?
No, there is still residual oxide layer in some of those pits, and then of course it goes into the hard rock underneath. What we find with all of the drilling we do at Merrimire is the deeper we go, the higher the grade we find.
Oh,
So,
lovely.
that's actually been showing up in all of the drilling we've done over the last 3 or 4 years. We haven't drilled much below 200 metres anywhere. So the question is, how much do we have underlying the zones that we've actually identified, particularly at Trident, for example, where we're fairly certain there's another underlying major zone about 200 metres under the 200 metre depth we've drilled to at the moment. So this is a big step for us to look at not just how much residual gold's in those pits, but what are the structures there? Do they form the commencement of another underground mine, for example?
Well, it's like the old saying is, gold mines don't die; they just go deeper. And so, it's very appropriate that Vango's Vango Mining and not Vango Exploration, because it seems like shortly you're going to have an opportunity to actually go mining. So what does the future hold the next couple of years, or even the next 6 months for Vango?
The next 6 months is important, Tim. What we have about 10 million tonne of ore, if you like, with that million ounce, or roughly a million ounce of JORC inferred and indicated gold. What we're trying to achieve is about 15 million tonne of ore with 1.5 million ounces of gold. That gives us a 20-year mine life with a 750,000 tonne plant. And that's the size of the plant that we're actually targeting. We want to have a made-for-purpose, fit-for-purpose plant, new one. And obviously that leads into how do you fund that? We are talking to 3 funders at the moment, and the bulk of that funding will come by way of debt with some equity. So, of course, that will save a massive amount of dilution, particularly at our current market cap.
Bruce, this is terrific news for investors. If investors are watching right now and you'd like to investigate this story further, ASX VAN on the Australian Stock Exchange, and I've been talking with the Executive Chairman, Bruce McInnes. Thank you very much, Bruce, for talking to us today.
Thank you, Tim. Thank you very much.